Let's have a frank discussion about wheels. One of the first adventures I had was in a Land Rover Discovery 2. It was in 1999, and it came with 18-inch wheels and a 55 profile tire. And I took those off-road in some of the hardest conditions that I think I'll ever experience. It was full-on flood, mud, hard rocks, and I ripped the sidewall on one of those tires, and I also debeaded one of those tires as well in an aggressive recovery of my vehicle. It was quite catastrophic, and I learned a lot from that trip. You really can't air down an 18-inch tire much, especially with a 55 profile, and expect to be able to go places. So I had higher tire pressures than I wanted. It was a terribly rough ride, and it just didn't work out well for me. So a lot of the other guys, they were running 16s or even 15-inch wheels, and therefore could get much more rubber to compress on the roads. And that kind of directed how I generally will build an off-road vehicle. I don't like punctures, I don't like ripping tires off of beads, and I don't like the rough ride. And so for this Toyota FJ Cruiser, this 2007 that I have behind me, it came with 17-inch wheels, but the TRD edition came with 16-inch wheels. And so in considering going with new tires, new wheels, I decided to buy a set of TRD 16s, and let me show you the difference in the amount of rubber that can actually be on the road and therefore can be compressed, conform to rocks, and also allows much better airing down and consistent off-road performance. Here's the 17-inch stock wheel. It's actually about 18.5 inches from rim to rim. The 17-inch designation actually refers to the tire that fits on a 17-inch wheel. And you could see how much rubber there is actually on this tire. Now this is about a 32-inch tire, and there is very little actual tire that can compress. So if you hit a big rock, that's going to take half of that load on that tire in compression or more. So you get a total of 6 inches of tire before you hit the rim. These are not going to be good as the 16-inch wheels for all off-road purposes. Here on the back, I have a 16-inch wheel. It's actually 17.5 inches in diameter from rim to rim. And then I've got 33-inch tires on this. That gives me 7.5 inches of rubber versus the 6 inches on the 17-inch wheel. Even if you were to have a 33-inch tire, you're still getting a full ½ inch of rubber in compression to play with. So with a 33-inch tire and 16-inch wheels, that gives you 25% more rubber to play with before you hit the rim. Whereas if you had a 32-inch tire on both the 16-inch rim and a 17-inch rim, you still get 8% more rubber. That's a huge difference. That extra rubber sure leads to better off-road performance, more longevity off-road, as well as a more comfortable ride. The whole back end of my FJ Cruiser is full of those TRD wheels, along with the spare tire that came off of the Toyota here. That's a 17-inch, but the rest are those 16-inch TRDs. I'll go find an empty parking lot and get these guys mounted up. I can probably get an extra 5,000 miles out of these tires that came with the wheels. That spare looks awesome. Can't wait to get the rest of these wheels on this FJ Cruiser. This is probably the first time that this tire iron has ever been used. It is really, really short. Here's 9 inches. So it is probably 12 maximum inches, so 1 foot. And at the end of this, you have a nice sharp claw. And it's all fun until somebody gets hurt, so there you go. I should have been wearing gloves. I just grabbed onto it and started pulling on it, yanking on it. And yeah, when it went, it cut my thumb, so I wore gloves for the rest of it. Let's check out the difference in height between a 285/75 R16 and your 265/70 R17. Quite a bit of difference. Now these are both our spare tires, so very lightly used, if any. And you can see that the 285/75 R16 is taller by about 1.5 inches. See the overall feel and look of that. It's a good moderate change. I like it, especially since these are now 16-inch wheels. That's my favorite size. I'd rather have 16s or even 15s. Of course, that won't fit on the brake calipers. Gives you a bit more rubber on the ground to squish as you're going over those deep holes and rocks and absorb some of the impact. Here's the FJ after putting on those TRD 16-inch wheels, 33-inch tires. Looks pretty awesome. Thanks for watching. See you next time.